I wonder. So one thing I also want to keep in the back of our minds is that whenever G2 get forced into these Game 5 situations, when the pressure is really on, this is actually when PerkZ often brings out his mage bot lanes. This is when he's usually a little bit more creative on what he likes to play in the 2 versus 2, and he almost relies on his old mid lane skills in order to carry them through what is a very important matchup. He did it against the likes of SKT, and I wonder if he's going to look to do it again today.
Ooh, I really don't like this here from G2. Notice Fnatic left Morgana up this time. They're certainly baiting out this Rakan pick. They want to get their hands on the Morgana. They can save it for a little bit if they want, because honestly, G2 aren't going to pick that up themselves. But now Fnatic, they get the Akali. I think they put the Xayah, you steal that away, third pick for the Morgana.
You would imagine, though, that G2's quite happy locking in the Kai'Sa for themselves. They could look to do that now. If they wanted to, they could consider grabbing the Sejuani as well. But with the Sylas available, they're going to go back with this matchup. We have to remember that Caps did get solo killed by Nemesis in this matchup when they played up against each other in Game 3. However, in the end, it was G2 that came out on top.
And of course, there is a possibility it could get flexed to the jungle at this stage. Holding that as a maybe, the Kled is locked in Phase 1. And now we see if that Morgana gets secured. What become the bans in Phase 2?
Oh, see, so what G2 is doing here is they're saying to Fnatic, okay, you can lock in something like the Morgana, you can get yourself a winning matchup in the support role, or you could pick a counter pick to top lane, and they do neither. They immediately lock in their Elise and guarantee themselves a strong 2v2 in the mid lane. A very early game focused jungle pick coming out from the side of Fnatic.
So interesting too, because the last time we saw an Elise ban was all the way back in Game 1 for G2. So Fnatic really want Broxah to have firepower in the early game. We've seen that when he can't control Jankos early, could be trouble, just like in Game 4.
And even though Fnatic got ahead in Game 3 and still lost, it has been Fnatic winning through early game leads that got them their 2 victories this series. We jump into bans. Kai'Sa and Thresh removed from the pool. So let's see what support Hylissang's going to be landing.
Yeah, you have to assume it's Thresh and Morgana here to deny the two good options that Hylissang really does have. And yes, you can go for the Nautilus. I think that's a fine option here if Hilly wants to put his hands on it. But G2 are just saying, Fnatic, you're not actually going to play this.
Well, Hylissang used to be one of the Morgana one-tricks. I remember it's Quickshot that always brings up that stat because he's cast him for so long. But Morgana used to be one of his bread-and-butter champions that you would often rely on. So I'd be surprised if Fnatic chose not to go for it. Oh, but there you go. Right now, they're hovering picks. We don't know what they're going to lock in yet. They still have some time.
My eyes are going to be on what Bwipo wants to take. They're going to save that for last, almost certainly here. Into the Kled. The Renekton is open because G2 split bans here. There are definitely options for Fnatic, but this Braum down in the bottom lane, much more passive, and yes, can be good at turning around engages on that Rakan, but it's not the Thresh we saw in Game 3 that Hylissang used to absolutely abuse Mickey early on.
Well, let's see what this final pick from G2 is going to be. PerkZ will be locking in the Ezreal. He has only played that once this split, and it was a victory in 1, 3, and 4. Now we find out what this mid lane, or rather jungle pick, will be for Jankos. Fisher was saying on the desk, there are a number of flex picks that G2 can play with, but gonna go back to tried and true, the Sejuani. Jankos has been one of the more consistent players over the course of the series, and he's been very impactful on Sejuani all split long.
Very bread and butter comp from G2. This is very much what we would expect from like an EU meta. We can see that they've gotten themselves a couple of comfort picks as well, and it's just very focused around team fighting. They're going to be looking to play around objectives, very similar to what we saw before.
Wow!
And we see the Kassadin lock in for Nemesis. Kassadin did receive some buffs on this patch, but this is a throwback to one of Nemesis' OG picks.
Yeah, he used to play this a lot. You think back to spring this year, even before he joined the LEC. This has been such a good pick for him, and specifically those buffs, damage to W, that's going to help you so much against a melee matchup against this Sylas. Once level 6 comes around, once Kassadin gets items, there's almost nothing Sylas can do in the 1v1.
It's one of those situations, though, where it's a very scaling-focused pick on what is a bit more of an early-game focus strat. Like when you're going for the Elise, you're going to be looking for plays up towards the top side of the map and maybe even towards the bot side as well. So I feel like that it doesn't really fit in the style with which Fnatic is going for, even though it does complement the 1-3-1 that they do have.
The idea here for Fnatic is that the Elise is going to bridge the gap between early, mid, and late game for this team. So yes, play around side lanes early on. You're not going to have control over mid, but come level 6, things get so much better for this kassadin in the mid lane, and Nemesis has the late game insurance. If this goes like game 3, where the game goes long and the early leads don't matter, that's where Nemesis will look to take over against G2.
Well, let's see what Nemesis can do. He played kassadin twice in spring, lost both of those games, but this is a very different Nemesis. This is a very different Fnatic. On the same token, Broxah is on his bread and butter pick. 25 games of Elise in the LEC. 18 wins and 7 losses for Broxah. It is do or die. Win and you are in the finals in Athens. Lose and you face Schalke 04 in Athens on Saturday with a shot at facing the victor. It is Fnatic versus G2. Peak League of Legends is European, and this is what it looks like. Game 5 between G2 and Fnatic. Again, G2 are grouping up and looking to challenge Fnatic in the level 1. Mickey and PerkZ got to be a little cautious as they move down the river.
So Fnatic are setting up for a defensive play in the event that Mickey tries to do something a little creative with the Rakan, but G2 feel pretty confident to set up this invade because they're going up against the kassadin. He really doesn't do much at early levels, but G2 have to be careful. They're going to face check here.
Got to be so careful. It's 3-on-2 for the time being. The minimap Rekkles can make his way up. A little bit of damage landing onto Hilly. And doesn't look like much more is going to come. There isn't a huge amount to work with in these early levels, and Fnatic have backed away.
So you can see that the Kleptomancy proc coming in handy there for PerkZ as he picks up his first item of the game already. But G2 will have information on where Broxah is starting. Meanwhile, Jankos is going to start on his blue buff. And what are you thinking about these early jungle paths?
Well, when you look at these two junglers, you know, both starting on blue buff, it means no early game ganks, but that's what you expect when you see Sejuani versus Elise. Very much level 3 champions you're going to be waiting for. And what Broxah is telegraphing with this type of path, I think even more so than Jankos starting on his blue buff, is Broxah wants to be up topside around the level 2, level 3 mark for Wunder. Not necessarily to find a gank, although that is definitely a possibility, but mainly because Kled plus Sejuani is absolutely brutal to try and lane against 1 versus 2, so he needs to be up here to protect against that gank, and therefore he's going to go buff into the Krugs so he can hit level 3.
We can hear the fans getting excited for this Game 5. Very divided audience, and those watching at home can now vote in chat who will win, G2 or Fnatic. The crowd seems to be a little bit more vocal for Fnatic right now.
But they also can't make up their minds. It's going back and forth.
We'll have to see how the game plays out. Obviously with Broxah on the Elise, love the energy here in Berlin. I want to keep my eyes on his decision-making and where he goes. As you've already mentioned, Vedius, the 2v2, we anticipated Akali mid being swapped top.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of kill pressure.
Ooh.
And the vote is swinging for now.
It's close right now. It's G2. They're not in this region. Of course. You can never escape.
That's not one of the options, guys.
I gave the crowd here such dirty looks, but the fans right now are believing in G2, and Jankos is the first one to show towards this bottom lane. Bottom lane performance has been influential throughout the series, and something Ender we were alluding to during the draft.
Yeah, right now the lane in a very awkward position for Fnatic. Yes, the Sejuani is going to be walking away, but look, it's sort of frozen against them. So Broxah needs to come down here in order to try and break a freeze. Even though they do have vision, they can't actually step up and farm. It's very, very dangerous, and that's why Mickey is playing so far forward right now. He knows he has the backup and can just stop Fnatic from stepping up.
Mid lane also has push in favor of Caps, and one of the cool things that I really like about kassadin on the current patch is that his W got 30 bonus damage. That is a lot, and at early levels, when trading against melee champions, it can be very effective at allowing skirmishes to go in your favor, and you can see that, oh, Wunder.
Oh, so much damage on the Bwipo. Wunder can't find the kill just yet, and that's how the series started, but in reverse. It was Bwipo putting pressure onto Wunder. Now Broxah is coming fishing in the bottom lane. I'm waiting to see if he can find a Cocoon. Cocoon plus the concussive blows passive from Hylissang is so much CC at this stage of the game and can easily lead to kills.
Yeah, now we're seeing the exact inverse of that bottom lane where it's pushing out. Thankfully for G2, they're much more mobile with these two champions. They can still play forward here, but Mickey does have to be a little bit careful with Broxah coming around.
Yes, he is, and making his way down. Teleport is available for Wunder and Caps if they were to commit it. But for the time being, Broxah is still fishing for an opportunity.
Yeah, Jankos thinking about making a play towards mid. Nemesis has to walk up to farm, and they have a lot of CC.
All right, they do indeed. That's going to catch with the abscond. Now Nemesis has already blown his flash. He steps all the way forward. Doesn't have enough damage to get the kill. First blood this time picked up by G2. In response, Fnatic are going to turn it around. Wunder completes the TP as mentioned. Mickey gets a kill into Rekkles. Now Mickey's in trouble, below 100 HP. Auto is not going to be enough, but here comes Jankos. Now Bwipo, he's going to start to teleport in. Bwipo with the TPO. Correction, it was PerkZ. It was PerkZ that arrived. Now Hilly, he throws up the Unbreakable.
And Jankos just waiting to set up the dive. There's nowhere that Hylissang can go. This is the start to the game that every G2 fan that voted for them was waiting for, and it's Hylissang Lambs to the slaughter.
At the beginning of the day, the fan vote was 67% in favor of Fnatic. Right now, it sits at 58 for G2, and I anticipate the moment fans see that play, they will swing their vote. 2,000 gold advantage for G2.
So the fight actually started in mid lane with a 2 versus 1 gank. Then Broxah sees the opportunity to make this gank happen, so a teleport immediately comes in from the Kled. This is a 3 versus 2 that Fnatic think they have in the bag. But with Mickey just flashing out of range of Rekkles' damage, and then he flashes over committing trying to get that kill, that allows Wunder to pick up the kill and buy time for the rest of G2 to arrive.
So crucial too in that play, no teleport for the Akali up top side, so G2 absolutely with the numbers advantage and absolutely nowhere for Hylissang to go. Just a really unfortunate circumstance for them as they overcommit for a play without the global pressure.
Vedius, you talked so much about tempo in the previous game and how G2, they were finding their groove, they're working on their individual performances and that as a team. And now they come into this game with the sort of bread and butter composition, I believe was the words used in picks and bans, and they have a fantastic advantage.
I mean, we definitely don't see many Ezreals in Europe, at least these days. But I do feel that this comp is just very standard in terms of how it's executed. A lot about team fighting, a lot of room to make early game plays, and right now, those early game plays are going heavily in favor of G2.
And it becomes even easier for G2 looking forward in this game to keep extending the lead, because they always have mid control as Wunder using the ultimate to escape. Bwipo can't trade in that lane, but mainly it's about Caps. His ability to move, because he's on the Sylas, can always roam up, and he's on his way right now.
All right, he will meet Broxah though in the jungle. So support is making its way in. Flash is available to Wunder. And there's all the catch.
A flash on Broxah.
Finds Broxah. Broxah will repel up, but what goes up must come down. Broxah running for his life underneath the tower. Caps is able to pick up the kill with the help of Wunder. Now Bwipo running around inside the shroud, trying to stay alive. Caps dashes forward, will not find the CC. Taps on the tower, and he gets out of range.
G2 are just styling on kids all across the map. The lead gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's almost nothing that Fnatic can do. G2 always have more members to fight you. They're always going to be stronger, and they continue to push further and further ahead.
3,000 gold is the lead right now. Turret plates are starting to fall in the top lane. There's support in the bottom lane, which is allowing Jankos, or correction, Jankos is the support, to pick up this Ocean Drake. And look at Caps, by the way. He's already roamed down towards the river, so if any shenanigans were afoot, it would be support for G2. They pick up another early Drake, and Ocean is so valuable at 8 minutes in the game.
And it's these kind of plays from Caps that remind me a lot of what made him so successful at MSI this year as well. The fact that he would just abandon his lane and look for roams, and he saw an opportunity top. He thought they could set up a dive, and notice how they used the remount mechanic on Kled in order to manage the aggro of the tower so cleanly. And then you'll see here, he gets just out of range, only takes a single tower shot, allowing the Kled to then pick up the double kill. Very well executed dive across the two members, and G2 are not slowing down in terms of their pressure.
It's the double fade away right there at the end to get the kill, and you can see all inside of Fnatic's jungle, there's this vision trying to spot out, trying to make it so Fnatic can never do anything against them. See, Broxah probably going to spot it out here, but no, he actually doesn't. It's all over the map right now, and what it means for G2 is that setting up those next plays is only going to be easier. Seeing Broxah on the bottom side of the map, they could then look to set up top side. That's why Bwipo has to back away. He must recall, and without a teleport, he will fall further and further behind.
Oh man, it's such a difficult position for Fnatic to be in. They are so far behind in the final game of the series. Broxah has just not been able to find opportunities, and this control ward will allow Mickey and PerkZ to get away safely.
I do still feel that Fnatic have scaling options in their kit, but talking about scaling at this point in the game isn't really going to do them any favors, as Caps looking for another trade onto Nemesis. Stealing away a kassadin ultimate is so depressing.
So in the top lane right now, Wunder is building up a freeze to come into him. So Bwipo actually ran all the way down into the bottom lane. There is a ward, though, that just timed out, so he will be able to sneak in unseen. But Fnatic must make something happen. They're down 4,000 gold at the moment. Top lane is unplayable for Bwipo, and this is his only maneuver left.
And of course, for Fnatic, they have shown they can contest and compete with G2 eSports. The first couple of games this series was all about Fnatic. The difference was they were ahead. Now, this is the play that you wanted to see. Ender, PerkZ gets tagged by the Winter's Bite, and Mickey's thrown into the air by the Glacial Fissure. But he will find another teammate to fly towards. That's a kill onto PerkZ, but Jankos is waiting in the wings. Glacial Prison is available to him. While that's going on, Wunder's in the top lane.
Yeah, Caps is also on the roam here, so they're just going to delete Broxah underneath the tower. Caps still running over. Jankos is so tanky. He's just buying time, waiting for the rest of G2 to show up and fight.
The quickness comes in and locks Rekkles down. G2 are not done yet. They are looking for Bwipo. Bwipo dashes in and hasn't got the damage just yet. Jankos crashes over the wall. Caps kills Bwipo. 10 kills to 2 and a 5,000 gold lead.
Every member of G2 is styling on Fnatic right now. Ender talks so much about how Fnatic needed to force that play bot. They had to make something happen with Bwipo's time investment all the way to the bot side of the map, and yes, they make something happen, but it ends in disaster as G2 pick themselves up 4 kills.
The unfortunate reality for Fnatic now is they win none of their matchups. They win no 2v2, no 3v3 on the bottom side of the map. Every lane is a lost one right now, so they must come at you with a numbers advantage.
Okay, Caps, can he get away with this? Level 9 to the
And he
6
does.
and 7, and Rekkles and Hilly didn't have the ultimates or the flashes to chase. As it stands, Mickey is 3-0-3 and Bwipo is trading with Wunder.
has ult.
Bwipo's in so much trouble. Charge has been used. Bear trap on a rope. Will pull Bwipo back, which teleport comes down.
He wants this fight as well.
And it does. He needs Skarl. Skarl is coming back, and Nemesis realizes
bot lane.
he can't do it. G2 are not done yet. They get themselves another kill in the bottom lane. Hylissang goes down. True Shot Barrage comes out from PerkZ. He kills Rekkles. PerkZ, in his second split as an ADC, wins the All-Pro #1 role, and he has got 5 European titles under his belt, the most of any European player, and is on the cusp of qualifying for another final.
This is painful to watch. Fnatic had such a convincing start to this series. They were dominating every single early game, and then coming into game 3, they were the ones with the game to lose. G2 found a way back, and with that win, the momentum suddenly swung in their favor. Now they keep looking for fights, but G2 is there to answer.
Yeah, they do. Mickey escapes
He's still alive.
again. 3-0-5. Every first pick Rakan has gone on to win
Kled.
the game. And Mickey's first pick was this game. Wunder jumps in. The bear trap goes the wrong way. Hylissang goes golden with a stopwatch. Stand behind me is used. Stays alive. Hylissang escapes for a few seconds longer before he gets taken out by Jankos and Sejuani. It's a double kill for the War Pig, and the middle tower will fall as well.
G2 just end up getting everyone else, and turret plates have not even fallen yet. They have 14 to their name as that one goes down. Everything in favor of G2.
Diving Bwipo as
They
well.
absolutely are. Bwipo's trying to do something. Perfect execution is available to him. He jumps back in, manages to find one. Wunder is now trying to put the damage back. Hex Drinker keeps him alive, and he trades with Wunder. Correction, Bwipo. The tower is just on the verge of falling as well.
It is so rare that you see the 15 turret plate dream, and G2 are so close. In game 5, when it all matters, G2, the one we know, the team we know, has shown up, and they're not here to play, they're here to dominate.
G2 eSports have secured 3 wins in a row. It just took them, well, potentially 3 wins in a row. It just took them 2 losses before they could start that run.
10,000 gold is the gap at 13.5 minutes. Bwipo has half the gold of Wunder. Like, it is unbelievable how hard Fnatic are getting smashed in this early game. They're trying to find a pick. Will they be able to kill Mickey? Not this time. He still remains deathless. Now Wunder on the re-engage.
Okay, now, this isn't really the time for quick stats, but I'm going to do it anyway. The quickest game in EU history was 18 minutes and 31 seconds. Can G2 beat that record. Infernal Drake, for the first time all series, is secured by G2. Caps is going to steal perfect execution. Hylissang's running for his life, and the charge is used defensively. 16 kills to 3, 10,000 gold lead. The tower in the mid lane on the verge of falling. And you really, really have to look at how Fnatic started and how they've ended. There is a lot of positive to take away, but they have been outclassed individually this game.
And this series, it was all about winning the early game. And Game 3 was the game they should have won. Game 3 was Fnatic's, and they lost it. G2, with some crucial team fights around the Baron, were able to turn it around. That gave them their mojo back. Now, with almost everything in their favor, they're diving under the towers.
Yeah, they absolutely are. That's another kill onto Hylissang. And now Broxah is underneath the tower. The tower simply is not even enough. Rekkles, gets caught by the Mystic Shot the moment he lands. Nemesis is running for his life, not even level 11. 18:31. That is the quickest game in European history. The inhibitor turret is falling, and the inhibitor should fall as well. 12 seconds.
14 plates.
14 plates secured. They just missed one. G2, if they find any more kills, you know they are brazen enough to go for the Nexus. They won't do it now. 13,000 gold lead. And what a fantastic series we have had. And it is just starting to fizzle somewhat.
Yeah. It's just like it. So, I mean, the thing here is that what we saw was in the first two games, I think the Fnatic did play exceptionally well. I think that they shut down G2, and I think they ultimately punished a lot of the mistakes that we saw G2 making. What we then saw throughout the series was that G2 slowly, individually returning to form, progressively getting better and better and better. And now we're at a point where it feels like that they're making very few mistakes, and every time Fnatic tried to force something, G2 just immediately shut them down.
G2 eSports, in my mind, have become the most dominant organization in European history. They just set another record at 15 minutes, 11,680 gold. They speed ran the finals against Origin, an organization with huge history.
Oh, they're going for the record.
They have Rift Herald.
18:31. Do Rift Heralds dance on Fnatic's grave? That's the question. The Rift Herald is going to be charging onto the Nexus turret. I wonder if G2 know that they can break their own record. The boot hits the Nexus turret. The quickness is being thrown down. G2 eSports on the cusp of making another final. On the cusp of crushing Fnatic in Game 5. They've traded top laners. Wunder and Bwipo are down. G2 are not done yet. Nexus turret falls. Caps has caught Rekkles. G2 eSports, their dominance was questioned this series, but they are looking like they're going to shut down Fnatic.
Yeah, they still don't have the minion wave yet, so Fnatic are doing everything in their power to fight back. The death timers are so low, and they've got the shutdown on towards Caps. Nemesis, can he get more?
He's looking for it. Riftwalk is available, but he doesn't have a huge amount of mana. Maybe only one more Rift. The Nexus will survive. The siege was cancelled. And at 17 minutes, Fnatic have a busted base and what feels like no hope.
I'm not going to try to sell you back into this game just yet, but Fnatic just got a shutdown on Nemesis, and with the super minions coming into mid lane, that's a lot of experience they can pick up if they can buy themselves more time. But in this fight, it is Bwipo that gets broken almost immediately, but then Mykix goes so deep under double Nexus towers, it's an immediate shutdown, and Bwipo wasn't quite taken out, so he's able to trade down on towards Wunder, and then it's this turn from Caps where he instantly blows up Rekkles, where everything looks golden for G2, but they have no more minions anymore, and Fnatic were able to turn it around onto them.
Let's be real. That was a power play. That was not high quality League of Legends. That was not G2 like executing some high level strat. That was G2 flexing their muscles and saying, we can break our own record right now.
And that was G2 breaking the mental of Fnatic before a potential rematch in Athens next week.
Actually, that's right, because it doesn't really matter who wins this game. The real loser is Schalke. Because they are going to get so much revenge. You know, Fnatic has showed what they can do in the early game. And yes, obviously, the odds are incredibly, incredibly slim, right? And it's going to be multiple G2 mistakes that will allow Fnatic back into this game. And let's see what's going to be happening now.
Well, they're going to give it a go.
With an actual TPO, It's simply too late to the party. Teleport coming down now from Wunder. Charge is available. Bwipo is now out of position. While that's happening, Caps is pushing into the base. It's still a potential pre-20-minute win. Knockup will catch Rekkles. He's running for his life. Here comes Caps. That's so many members dead. Bwipo has respawned, but there's no minions to work with to push the final turret.
G2 don't have minions, but I don't think they care, quite frankly. They just want blood here from the side of Fnatic, waiting for the escort into the base. Bwipo does not stand a chance. That's the ace for G2.
G2's dominance has been truly challenged, but they were not conquered. G2 continue to rule Europe.
G2 successfully make the reverse sweep a reality. They were pushed to the brink. In Game 3, they had to hold the line and make the comeback happen, and they do so. Just barely, but they manage it.
Look at the smiles, look at the happiness. For the first time in 757 days, a reverse sweep has happened in Europe. The second fastest game in history in Europe at 19 minutes and 38 seconds. G2 were pushed to breaking points. They were down 2,500 gold by the only other team in Europe that could contest them. And Fnatic, unfortunately, were not able to close it out.
I mean, what was great about this series is that it demonstrated that G2 are not impossible to defeat. They can be challenged, they can be rivaled, and that there is an opportunity to beat them.
There's a lot of fans here today.
But we also got to see what peak G2 does look like, and when they are playing in form, what they can do against the likes of a Fnatic.
This is what peak League of Legends looked like. That was the call from MSI. This is what peak competition for G2 looks like. And it is Fnatic from Europe. Fnatic versus Schalke next Saturday in Athens. Tickets are still available if you want to come watch. And if they win, please, oh please, give us another series like this on Sunday.
It actually just blows my mind that